with the shear and interacting with the land, which is more friction, which hurricanes do not like, we will see it deteriorate more. So we are taking it on the chin here, but as it continues to pull north, you're going to start to see this thing wind down, but it takes a little bit of time for it to do that. Off into my east in Lake Charles, we have Tevin Woon there. He has reported they've lost power. It is spotty there. There have been power lines that have been down there. Right now, where we are, I still see lights on down the street, so there is certainly still power here, but there are blue tarps on roofs as Hurricane Laura did cause some damage. The trees are swaying. I do not see, at least where I'm located, any trees down. This is mainly what we're seeing. Anything that is top heavy and not too sturdy has been knocked over, and you can see this planter. And let me tell you, if that's the worst of the damage we're going to get here, we will be happy to see that. All right, we officially have landfall. It has been called by the National Hurricane Center, Hurricane Delta, and Creole, Louisiana is what we were expecting. So this makes it now the 10th tropical system to make landfall in the U.S. That sets a new record. The old record was 9, and that record's been standing since 1916. That just tells you how rare it is to see this. And by the way, for our state record, in 2002, we had 4 landfalls: Bertha, Hannah, Isidore, and Lily. And we now got our 4th landfall here. So we tie the record in Louisiana for landfalls. There was Cristobal, Marco, and Laura earlier this season, and this is now our 4th landfall here in the state of Louisiana. A record-setting season, 25 named storms. The record, of course, is 28 that was set back in that notorious 2005 season. And it's just been also the fact that all these named storms are coming well ahead of schedule as well. It's something like 22 out of 25 named storms were ahead of schedule. There's your wind. There's your wind. There's your wind-driven rain. This is starting to tear little pieces, bits and pieces of signs off here on Main Street. And as you look, the water tower we've been picking has a good sign of visibility. And that you just cannot see, barely at all. You can see the trees also kind of leaning over there. It's distant, but the visibility has really dropped. And when it comes to water, I don't know how far away I can get from my photog, and maybe you won't be able to see me because the visibility is that bad. He's giving me the thumbs up. You can still see and hear me. This is the type of water that we're seeing accumulating on the roads. And so we don't have tremendous flooding, except when we get water accumulation. That wind is strong enough where it's tough to breathe sometimes and can take you off your feet. Then you get a little low.
Everybody going through, Stephanie is in the northern eye wall of Jennings. Right now, I think we're kind of losing her mic there, so we'll take it, get you caught up. But she's obviously going through the northern eye wall there. This is the same band that produced a verified now 96-mile-per-hour wind gust down at Lake Arthur, Louisiana, which is just to Stephanie south. So NHC mentioned that in their update as an official gust. So we've gotten now, again, the circulation center coming on shore. We've had an official landfall at Creole right around 6 o'clock local time here. Here we are at about 15 minutes past the hour. And I want to show you the band that Stephanie's going through. I'm up in Bro Bridge, so I'm about 38 miles or so to the northeast of where she is. But it's important because this band, it may not have 96 anymore, but it's going to have winds that could knock out power. All right. So, you know, as we show you that, I just want to get everybody caught up. And we're kind of timing it out almost like a squall line now. So you can see the different towns that are going to be in this, like Cowley. Seidel's going to get this, if you will, and Scott. He's going to have to deal with that, and maybe even West Lafayette will deal with this. So we'll see how long it holds together as it continues to move ashore. But many, many cameras out there. We can show you what's going on. Again, the Jennings camera obviously going through the eye wall, the Lake Charles camera, watching the tarps. Just one of thousands of these just flapping in the wind here with Charles Peak's camera. Of course, the problems in Abbeville with the storm surge. Now at freshwater, 7.9 feet. So that verifies exactly what the Hurricane Center was talking about with the 7 to 11 feet there with that storm surge. So water still holding its own now with that onshore wind and with that southeast wind, even with the center ashore, coming ashore. This will start to go down a little bit as the center and the eye wall starts to move a little bit further to the northeast. So hang in there, guys. we still got a little ways to go here, Mike Bettis, with this thing, but kind of amazing just seeing that northern eye wall ripple on shore, almost more like a squall line, if you will, than something we saw with Laura, which was almost a perfect circular beast coming ashore.
Yeah, this is a little different. We got a pretty ragged eye at this point, and very well put there, Jim. More like a squall line, kind of coming south to north here, and I think it comes across I-10 here over the course of the next hour or so. What could be interesting, Jim, is I think that you, Mike Seidel, Stephanie Abrams, and potentially even Tevin could all simultaneously be in the eye at the same time because it's expanded a little bit here. I'm interested to see if you and Tevin might actually bookend it and maybe potentially be in a deteriorating eye wall while Steph and Mike might be in the eye, but you all have, I think, at least a chance of being in the eye simultaneously, which would be amazing to see four of you all at the same time with calm winds.
That really would be, Mike. That really would be. And, of course, the other thing, too, is once we all get in that, or that I-10 corridor point south gets into it, you know, that's it with the worst of the weather. Yeah. Because we know the south side of this thing is just completely collapsed, right? Yeah, it's empty. You know, the wind shear is taking everything off to the north here. Yeah. I'm still a little bit surprised that they're holding on to the 100-mile-per-hour winds, but I think it's going to come down pretty quickly from this point going forward. And I think that if it could have made landfall anywhere in Louisiana, this was as good a spot. Now, and why I say that, Jim, is it basically made landfall in a wildlife refuge. There are a handful of homes down there on Grand Chenier Highway, but if there were going to be a spot, this would be the spot. Yeah, you know, that's certainly a little bit of a silver lining here, Mike, but I think the calling card of this is going to be Lake Charles in the fact that you can trace this all the way back to COVID. You know, they're not making enough shingles. The labor's ready to put them on, but if they're not there, you can't put them on. And so thousands and thousands of these tarps, unfortunately, just kind of sitting there and flapping in the wind. And in some cases, they may have started the indoor part of the project, all right, sheetrock and things like that. Now you've undermined that and have to start from scratch and maybe even have a worse problem because of losing that tarp. So it's going to be really interesting to follow the after story in Lake Charles here. They may be farther behind in spots than they were to start with, I think, even just after Laura. You know, you kick them while they're down, and it's just not fair. It just truly is not. 6 weeks later, we're going through it all again, and we're looking at the images on the screen there, Jim, and maybe even listen to them a little bit. The winds now starting to rip up, you know, a lot of these blue tarps that are on roofs, protecting homes from intrusion of rain, but now they're wet on the outside and the inside, unfortunately. And as Jim was alluding to, we do officially have landfall. Near Creole, Louisiana is Category 2, winds at 100 miles per hour. Pressure's coming up a little bit here, Jim, at 970 millibars. We think it's going to start to degrade here pretty quickly, but overall, you know, the course of action from this point going forward is improvements, okay? We know that we've got still 100-mile-per-hour winds officially, although we haven't seen any winds to that strength measured quite yet, but I would anticipate that we could have a decent amount of wind still to go here before this is done, but mostly here on the northern side. Again, north-northeast movement at 14 miles per hour. A lot of flash flood warnings are in effect right now, so we've had some places record already half a foot of rain today. Now, here's the key thing. I'm going to point out a couple things. So Tevin Wooten sits in here, Stephanie Abrams right here in Jennings, Mike Seidel's in Scott, Jim Cantor over here in Breaux Bridge. And you can see the outline of the eye is about that. So a northeast movement like that could literally put all four of our live meteorologists in the eye simultaneously. The worst of the weather's happening right here around Jennings, and we're getting a pretty decent blast of weather around us, around Scott as well. But let's get you over to Lake Charles. Our Justin Michaels is there this evening. Things rocking and rolling on I-10 tonight. Justin, give us an update there.
Hey, I'll tell you what, right now, conditions are not great here, Mr. Mike Bettis. We know we could be in the western eye wall for quite a long time, maybe another hour, 2 hours. So as this thing continues to push off to the northeast, we still have a lot of weather to go through here in Lake Charles. I heard you in your conversation with Jim Cantori about the conditions here in the next couple days, weeks, months, as they were still cleaning up from Laura. I can tell you, driving around Lake Charles over the last few days, all you see is blue tarps, all you see are piles of debris. It's hard to imagine that this city over the last 6 weeks since Laura went through did remove 1.54 million cubic yards of debris. If you drove around the city yesterday, you probably wouldn't believe that because of how much debris is left. But there is a lot to clean up here after Laura. There's certainly going to be a lot to clean up after Delta as well. And just like Jim was talking about, all the work that has already been done, all the insurance claims that have been paid out so people could start the good work of getting their houses back to normal, and now probably having to start over. We've seen the video. We've seen the video of the blue tarps flapping in the wind and people's homes completely exposed because, remember, roofs were ripped off. Those blue tarps were, for some people, roofs, keeping their houses dry, keeping their houses out of the elements. And here now Delta comes in and is blowing a 1-2 punch on this city. Not what they were looking for, and certainly this storm certainly could be a major problem moving forward. Are they going to be worse off after Delta than they were after Laura? It certainly is possible because they were already down. Delta hit them while they were down here because of what happened after Laura. So there's going to be a lot of work to do in this city. I know we're going to be storytelling here over the next several days to keep you engaged in what's going on. Let's go to Steph right now, meteorologist Stephanie Abrams. I'll tell you what, Steph, conditions here in Lake Charles are not great. The power in our hotel here has been coming on and off for the last hour, and we have to believe that's probably going to continue. I know in Louisiana in total right now, more than 81,000 customers without power.
Yeah, shockingly, we still have power at Jennings. I'm not sure how, but we shockingly do. If you've been watching, do you remember me looking and saying, "Oh, there's some debris. Watch out, everybody!" Because I saw something literally flying through the sky, and it seemed as if it was heading towards us. It thankfully stopped before it got to us. But this is it. Do you hear that? This is sheet metal. All right, and think about how sharp the end of that is and what that could do. Just think about how sharp that's flying through the atmosphere. And I'm actually going to move it out of the way here so it's out of the wind so that it doesn't do any damage or hurt anybody else. But all we have to do is go here and you see what a difference the wind is. And I'm actually being a little blocked by the building. Safer, is it okay if we go down to this corner? Is that all right with you? All right, I just wanted to check with my photographer. I want to make sure he's always comfortable with what we're doing and he is able to get the shot and stay safe as well. It's a team. I know that you see our faces on TV, but I got to tell you, it is a massive team effort, not only with our crews in the field, but everyone back at work giving us wind gusts. Look at this wind. This is the worst we've seen, the most consistent, strong wind we've seen right out of the east, right up the street. Takes your breath away. Whew. Sometimes you just got to get your breath. Now, it's been like this. This is the worst of weather. It's made landfall in Creole, Louisiana. We will get into the eye. Things will get a lot better. This wind, however, is driving that rain so strong, it stings any exposed skin. And believe it or not, these power lines have been bouncing around, but you can see there's a bank. I'm going to put my back to the wind for just a minute because it stings a bit. You see that bank? The lights are still on. I can see down the street, another building down the street, the lights are still on. Pretty impressive that we have yet to lose power. The visibility, obviously, you can barely see down the street. You know, it is very hard to see with that wind-driven rain. And thankfully for us, it's not going to continue to stay like this for too much longer. But unfortunately, our friends to the north, you will be experiencing what you see here. If you live to our north, this thing is moving north. All of this rain and wind is going north with this system. Now, obviously, as this hurricane interacts with land and we get the friction and the shear kicking in, it's going to slow down the winds. But it takes a minute for hurricanes to wind down. It's nice that we got a little minute there to get a break from some of those strong winds as well. Say it one more time, Kelly. I'm so sorry. It's a little hard to hear. Woo. All right, so what we want you to do is listen to the wind, listen to the rain, and also some of the sheet metal that we hear flapping as well. Whew.
Is that net carbs or total? Not enough fiber. Chocolate would be good.
Snacking should be sweet and simple. The delicious taste of Glucerna gives you the sweetness you crave while helping you manage your blood sugar with nutrients to help support immune health.
Putting adventure first doesn't mean having to put sugar first. This Cliff Bar's first ingredient is brown rice syrup, another name for sugar. In this new Kind energy bar, it's whole grain oats with 35% less sugar than the leading Cliff Bar. Be kind to yourself.
Wish you were here to see how bright the human spirit can shine. To see that no matter what nature does, people will do more. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm will always be among the first to arrive and the last to leave. To help show that human nature is greater than nature. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
A woman who was young had COVID-19. I remember her because she had a bracelet that had the names of her children. She asked me, "Doctor, am I going to be okay?" And I could not give her the answer that I wanted to give her. There's no excuse for why we don't have this under control at this point. Joe Biden listens to medical experts. He actually has a plan that does the things that we should have been doing many months ago. And Joe Biden is not going to let his ego get in the way of fighting the disease.
FFPAC's responsible for the content of this ad.
Sensitive skin? Cetaphil Moisturizing Cream with 24-hour moisture lock formula gives continuous soothing relief for dry, sensitive skin. Cetaphil skin is healthy skin.
1 in 2 kids is underhydrated. All new plant-powered Creative Roots gives kids the hydration they need with the fruit flavors they love and 1 gram of sugar. Find new Creative Roots in the kids' juice aisle.
Your mission: stand up to moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis and take it on with Rinvoq. Rinvoq, a once-daily pill, can dramatically improve symptoms. Rinvoq helps tame pain, stiffness, swelling, and for some, Rinvoq can even significantly reduce RA fatigue. That's Rinvoq relief. With RA, your overactive immune system attacks your joints. Rinvoq regulates it to help stop the attack.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious infections and blood clots, sometimes fatal, have occurred, as have certain cancers, including lymphoma, and tears in the stomach or intestines, and changes in lab results. Your doctor should monitor your blood work. Tell your doctor about any infections, and if you are or may become pregnant while taking Rinvoq.
Take on RA. Talk to your rheumatologist about Rinvoq relief. Rinvoq. Make it your mission. If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
The world's changing, and we're changing with it. At FastShipFaceMasks.com, our soft and plush, reusable double-layer face masks come in fun colors and styles, starting at $6.99. With our famous 5-minute checkout and next-day shipping, you can have your masks fast, help slow the spread, and protect your community. Feel the difference and be the difference at FastShipFaceMasks.com.
I sent your new prescription to the pharmacy. Any idea how much it will cost? You have a choice. Insurance or GoodRx? I have insurance. Insurance is not what it used to be. People struggle to get their prescriptions covered, and prices keep rising. I recommend GoodRx. You get free coupons to save on your prescriptions. Compare prices to find the best discounts.
GoodRx. Smart.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
Winds have been gusting the full force of this thing.
The Weather Channel.
So breaking news in the last 20 minutes, Hurricane Delta making landfall near Creole, Louisiana in the northern eyewall right now is meteorologist Stephanie Abrams. For Steph, some of the worst winds are happening for you right now. Some of the intense rainfall rates are happening for you right now. But we think over the next maybe half hour to 40 minutes, you're going to emerge out into the eye where things will go dead calm. We're going to try to reconnect with Stephanie's audio here in just a moment, but she's really in the meat of it right now. We're going to get back to Steph here in just a second. Want to update you on what the situation is in Lake Charles, Louisiana. That's just east of where Stephanie is on I-10. Justin Michaels is there. Justin, again, same thing. We think the worst of the weather happening for you over the course of next maybe 20 or 30 minutes there in Lake Charles.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, just in the last 5 minutes, there was a 95-mile-per-hour gust reported here in Lake Charles. So that is a beast of a gust, and certainly the damage is being caused across this town. This city was already hard hit by Laura 6 weeks ago. Now we have Delta coming through, undoing all the work that's been done over the last 6 weeks, undoubtedly. We do know also in Moss Bluff, Louisiana, here in Calcasieu Parish, there is flooding in homes, and we have to believe they're probably not the only ones. So what's going to happen for the rest of this evening? The expectation is we could have another hour, maybe as much as 2 hours in the western eye wall of this storm. We're going to continue to have these 75-mile-per-hour plus gusts. We're going to have sustained winds. It's going to be really nasty, and the rain is going to keep coming down for the rest of this evening, probably not tapering off until after midnight. The good news is by the time the sun comes up tomorrow morning, hopefully Delta is going to be off to the northeast, and people are going to be able to get out and begin to reassess the damage to Lake Charles, Louisiana. It's really hard to believe, and people here, as we were talking with them over the last few days about leaving, they were truly scared after what they went through with Laura, and that's why there were so many people, a mass exodus from this city yesterday. In fact, the mayor here, Nick Hunter, he told us yesterday that they believe that they had more people evacuate because of Delta than because of Laura, and they used Laura as a guide, saying, hey, we're not going to live through that again. All right, let's head to meteorologist Stephanie Abrams. I'll tell you what, Steph, we're getting a pretty nasty Delta here in Lake Charles, and I know you are too.
Yeah, we are, and just to our south, in Lake Arthur, they've been gusting to 88, and everything that's happening in Lake Arthur is going to gust up to us here in Jennings. And I want to show you, this was just tumbling down the street, a stop sign, and look, it was ripped from how it was obviously attached to the post. So the wind was strong enough to rip this, and this is heavy, this is sharp, this can do a lot of damage. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this out of the wind. Here, guys, you might have to grab this so I can go back out there. I don't want it to go flying again. Do you want to, Seth, you want to come grab this for me if you don't mind, so I can, I don't want that to go flying and hit anybody. Thanks, Seth, I appreciate it. All right, so let's go back out here. You know, I don't know if Bettis is available. I want to talk to Mike if we can, because Mike, this has made landfall in Creole, Louisiana. That is just to the east where Laura made landfall. And I was wondering if we know that distance between the two hurricanes, which is not unprecedented, but it is rare. The last time I feel like we saw landfall this close was 2004, Hurricane Jean and Francis on the Florida East Coast, where they were approximately 2 miles apart from each other.
Steph, I'm going to measure the distance. It's 13 miles,
Thanks.
Approximately 13 miles from Creole to Cameron. So, you know, that's amazing. When you think about two significant hurricanes, a Cat 4 and a Cat 2, making landfall within 13 miles of each other, you know, the devastating blow we've taken there in Louisiana, you know, the conditions that you're dealing with today just make it all that much worse for the people trying to recover from the hurricane 6 weeks ago.
It is, and unfortunately, even people here, they got hit by Laura. It was way worse, but let me tell you, this is not enjoyable. This, you know, we've had our winds officially gusting just over 60 miles an hour, but Mike, you've been in enough hurricanes to know this is stronger than 60 miles an hour. That's,
Steph, how I can tell that it is very difficult is I can hear your labored breathing, because this is like a workout out there. I'm glad you're in an open exposed area, because you certainly don't want to have, you know, stuff hitting you, but be very, very careful out there. We think that you're in this, Steph, and looking at that radar, I think you're probably in this for about another 20 minutes or so. If you hang in there for another 20 minutes, I think you're going to be in the clear. And after that, I think the weather's actually going to be pretty decent from that point going forward. But until then, you've got some of the highest reflectivity returns we're seeing on the radar are actually happening on I-10 in Jennings right now.
And what's incredible, Mike, is we have that storm surge also up to 8 feet already on the Louisiana coast with that push. Have you started to see any of those water levels drop being in the eye and as this is moving ashore yet? Have you seen that drop start?
Yes, in Calcasieu Pass, yes, we've seen that come down. Now, I would say over at Canal Locks, that's actually gone up to record now, actually surpassing what happened with Hurricane Ike. They've gone past 10.2 feet now, so that's more on the eastern side where you got the eastern eye wall that came through. So record-setting surges and significant wind right now as the hurricane comes.
The Lab brought to you by State Farm. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Wish you were here to see how bright the human spirit can shine. To see that no matter what nature does, people will do more. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm will always be among the first to arrive and the last to leave. To help show that human nature is greater than nature. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Introducing Tostito Strips, their thickest chip yet.
And creamy avocado salsa made with real avocados.
They're good apart,
but better together.
Hey, Martha, pass me some of that green stuff.
The ups and downs of frequent mood swings can take you to deep depressive lows. Or give you unusually high energy, even when depressed. Overwhelmed by bipolar 1? Ask about Vraylar. Some medicines only treat the lows or highs. Vraylar effectively treats depression, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults. Full spectrum relief for all bipolar 1 symptoms with just one pill once a day. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. High cholesterol and weight gain, high blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, may occur. Movement dysfunction, sleepiness, and stomach issues are common side effects. When bipolar 1 overwhelms, Vraylar helps smooth the ups and downs.
Lactate is 100% real milk, just without the lactose, so you can enjoy it even if you're sensitive. Yet some people say Lactate isn't real milk. I guess all those cows must actually be big dogs. Sit. I said sit.
Domino's knows delivery, so when we asked our team members how to make carry-out more convenient, they had thoughts.
Frisbee.
That's a thought.
Deliver it.
Even better. Introducing Domino's Carside Delivery. Just pull up, check in online, and we bring your food to you. It's carry-out delivered.
1 in 2 kids is underhydrated. All new plant-powered Creative Roots gives kids the hydration they need with the fruit flavors they love and 1 gram of sugar. Find new Creative Roots in the kids' juice aisle.
If you have risk factors like heart disease, diabetes, and raised triglycerides, Vasipa can give you something to celebrate. Vasipa, when added to your statin, is clinically proven to provide 25% lower risk from heart attack and stroke. Vasipa is clearly different. First and only FDA approved. Celebrate less risk, even for those with family history. Don't take Vasipa if you are or become allergic to icosapent ethyl or any inactive ingredient in Vasipa. Serious side effects may occur, like heart rhythm problems and bleeding. Heart rhythm problems may occur in more people with persistent cardiovascular risk or who have had them in the past. Tell your doctor if you experience an irregular heartbeat or other heart rhythm problems. Possible side effects include muscle and joint pain. Celebrate less risk. Added cardio protection. Talk to your doctor about adding protection with Vasipa.
The first ingredient in this Cliff Bar is brown rice syrup, which is another name for sugar. In this Kind Bar, it's heart-healthy almonds with the taste of dark chocolate and 75% less sugar than the leading Cliff Bar. Be kind to yourself.
It's almost unbelievable. This is real.
When your cameras roll,
This is something nobody can imagine.
our experts react.
What do you do? Oh my gosh.
Jaw-dropping.
Nope, 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 all the way back home.
It doesn't get better than this.
Don't miss all new episodes of Weather Gone Viral, Sunday nights at 9, here on the Weather Channel. Get your daily dose of everything weather.
Wow! Boy, do we have a lot to talk about.
Weather Today from the Weather Channel. New episodes every day, only on Quibi.
We are tracking Hurricane Delta for you tonight, officially making landfall near Creole, Louisiana, about half an hour ago. And that is a live look at what's happening for us right now as Lake Charles is being hit pretty hard right now. Winds have been gusting as high as 95 miles an hour in Lake Charles, and you can see just how angry the water is right now. We've had significant wind, and we've had some surge that's been record-setting along the coastline of Louisiana. I want to take you to Lake Arthur. This is just south of I-10, just south of Jennings, Louisiana, and show you what's happening there, because we've had pretty significant wind that's come in there. But now the weather's going to start to get a little calmer. That's a look at Jennings, by the way, as the extreme winds that have come in are knocking down power lines at this point. Please do not drive boy, this is a car here. It's just dangerous being there, because you can see the power lines that are down even over the roadway. So please just find another route in these kind of situations. Then we take it to Kaplan, Louisiana, and you can see a mobile home there, I believe, has been knocked over. And it really only takes about a 70-mile-an-hour wind to do that, and the winds have been gusting higher than that. So you are not safe in a mobile home at all, and you're not even safe in a home that's not elevated at this point. And there's a shot of what the roads are looking like in Lake Charles for us tonight. Again, plenty of water on the roads. Watch for the hydroplaning. Be careful. Watch your speed. If you don't have to be out this evening, don't. The weather's going to improve for you here pretty quickly as soon as we get into the eye, and then the storm moves pretty quickly off to the north, and you're out of this in the next couple of hours. So let's get into Lake Charles tonight with Justin Michaels. Justin, things have been rocking and rolling here the last couple of hours. I'm hopeful here that your weather improves pretty quickly, maybe in the next half an hour or so.
Well, I do know we just got another rainfall record coming in. 8.53 inches of rain has fallen so far today here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. That broke a record several hours ago. The numbers are just going to continue to tick up. You said, Mike, 95-mile-per-hour gusts about 20 minutes ago. Let's hope you're right that in the next half an hour we could see a little bit of a decline, but we do know we're on the western side of this storm, and if you just think about it, go back to basic geometry, if this thing is moving to the northeast and we're on the western side of it, we've got the whole back western side, southwestern side of it to go through. So, as you can see, very gusty, very dangerous. Being out right now is the absolute worst scenario. Driving around should not be an option. This is not the time, folks, to go out and try to say, hey, what's it like to be in a hurricane? I can tell you, for our safety, I am about 20 feet from getting inside the building into our hotel. Our hotel is powerless right now. Generator is operating the entire building at this point, and we have to believe if this hotel is out of power, most, if not all, of Lake Charles has got to be out of power. Across the state of Louisiana, we have about 81,000 customers and growing out of power right now. We know that number is going to go up. This is certainly Delta, insult to injury. These people were dealing with the cleanup after Laura 6 weeks ago, and now you have to believe, at least for many people, were all the efforts and all the progress made over 6 weeks, was it all washed away with Hurricane Delta? Probably was, because many people still had blue tarp roofs, they still had infrastructure that was broken, people doing everything they could to come back, and you bring Delta on shore with 95-mile-per-hour gusts and more than 8.5 inches of rain over the course of this storm and counting, and you've got more problems. So, will they be worse off after this than even after Laura? That's definitely a possibility. I know that our team, after the storm goes away, we're going to be working through the streets of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and this part of Louisiana, trying to bring those stories of people trying to recover again. 6 weeks and counting since Laura came through, and now we have Delta adding insult to injury. Definitely a tough go for a lot of people here. As far as where I'm standing right now, before we lose the luxury of having a little daylight, you can see this body of water back here. This is the Calcasieu River, okay? And this is being fed by the actual Lake Charles, which is not far from where I'm standing right now, the actual lake. You can't see it. There's no possible way of seeing it. And in fact, we can barely see the water back there except out to that channel marker. But I'll tell you what, conditions here are going to be pretty bad for a little while longer. Again, can't stress enough. This is not the time to be going out. Stay inside, keep yourselves safe, and remember, this city had so much debris left over after Hurricane Laura went through here 6 weeks ago, and much of it still has not been cleaned up. Meaning when you get those 95-mile-per-hour gusts, and it doesn't even need to be 95 miles per hour, it can be 50 or 60 miles per hour to pick up those pieces of corrugated metal and also wood and all sorts of other projectiles. You don't want to get hit by one because that is deadly. The Weather Channel is going to continue to track Delta as it pushes off to the northeast, and of course, we'll be here in Lake Charles for you throughout the evening. Stay tuned, folks.
1 in 2 kids is underhydrated. All new plant-powered Creative Roots gives kids the hydration they need with the fruit flavors they love and 1 gram of sugar. Find new Creative Roots in the kids' juice aisle.
Everyone remembers the moment they heard, "You have cancer," how their world stopped, and when they found a way to face it. For some, this is where their Keytruda story begins. Keytruda, a breakthrough immunotherapy that may treat certain cancers. One of those cancers is advanced non-squamous non-small cell lung cancer, where Keytruda is approved to be used with certain chemotherapies as your first treatment if you do not have an abnormal EGFR or ALK gene.
Keytruda helps your immune system fight cancer, but can also cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body. This can happen during or after treatment and may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have new or worse cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, diarrhea, severe stomach pain or tenderness, nausea or vomiting, rapid heartbeat, increased hunger or thirst, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in urine or eyesight, muscle pain or weakness, joint pain, confusion or memory problems, fever, rash, itching, or flushing. These are not all the possible side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system problems, or if you've had an organ transplant, had or plan to have a stem cell transplant, or have lung, breathing, or liver problems.
Today, Keytruda is FDA approved to treat 16 types of advanced cancer and is being studied in hundreds of clinical trials, exploring ways to treat even more types of cancer. It's true. Keytruda from Merck. See the different types of cancer Keytruda is approved to treat at Keytruda.com and ask your doctor if Keytruda can be part of your story.
Look, Limu! Someone out there needs help customizing their car insurance with Liberty Mutual, so they only pay for what they need. False alarm. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Need a nice reward today? Treat yourself to a Heath bar, because nothing says special like rich English toffee. Heath, it's English toffee.
Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, so you're the scientist here. Does my Aveeno Daily Moisturizer really make my dry skin healthier in one day?
It's true, Jen.
Really?
This prebiotic oat formula moisturizes to help prevent dry skin.
Impressive. Aveeno, healthy. It's our nature.
You put care into everything you do. United Healthcare does too. Like connecting you to care whenever you need it. Because like you, United Healthcare knows what care can do.
Every morning at 4:30, you hear the cooks hop on the floor. It's hard times in the mill, my love, hard times in the mill. Every morning right at 6, don't that old bell make you sick? Hard times in the mill, my love, hard times.
Our focus is raising the girls.
Being able to order stuff online.
It helps out a lot.
We get to use that time that we would be at the grocery store. That time is priceless.
Yeah, back at Breaux Bridge, Louisiana here as we continue to move Delta onshore farther. Still a lot of wind with this thing. Incredible amounts of wind energy existing. Just had a power flash here. The power went out and it came back on, and the streetlights went down, and then they just came back on and through here. So we'll see some of these stronger winds starting to mix down even farther to the northeast. But off to the southwest, that eye wall part that's collapsing in the Jennings area, Lake Arthur, and even back into Lake Charles now. Talk about insult to injury, 95-mile-per-hour winds there. Just a horrible situation. And I was just talking to my buddy, Forrest Masters, who's a meteorologist at the University of Florida. He said, Jim, there is still 90-mile-an-hour wind gusts behind the rain. Okay, so even as the precipitation comes off the radar, keep in mind we still have a nice rear inflow jet almost coming into this thing that's going to gust up to about 90 miles per hour. So don't think that we're done, even though the precip starts to shut off. Got a long night ahead of us. From last count, 200,000 customers without power. That's Texas and Louisiana. Of course, most of them in Louisiana. We've had a lot of issues, guys, especially with storm surge down in Vermilion Bay and Abbeville. We've gotten, top there, fresh water, almost 8 feet. All right, so that 7 to 11 feet is absolutely verified, and they're still having problems. There are waves literally rolling through the city. But in terms of, being able to stand up and certainly seeing things blown over, we don't have any of that kind of damage here in Breaux Bridge. All right, I want to get into Steph, because, Steph, it's kind of interesting. You're hopefully going to get out of some of that heavy rain, but you may not get out of the wind. You may not get out of the wind.
Right. Well, as we've been talking about, this is not a well-defined eye, right? It's starting to get torn apart. So you might still see some of that wind, even though the rain was ending, as you were mentioning. And Jim, I really want to hammer home the point. For those of you who have been watching me over the last couple of hours, this is a Category 2. And this is why we try to warn you and tell you to prepare, even for a Cat 2, a Cat 1. It doesn't have to be a major hurricane. If you're in the eye wall of even a Category 1, you will get damage. And so try to remember, this is a Category 2. Next time you see a hurricane coming, that you should prepare. Now, I will say, I think the winds have died down a little bit. It is still raining, but I do think the winds have calmed down. As we're getting closer and closer to that eye, the winds will continue to calm down. I have an anemometer reading, too. I've been watching because that pressure will be dropping. Of course, it made landfall in Creole, Louisiana, which is to our south, right there along the coast. And we will start to see our pressure drop. Yeah, we're down to 981.4 millibars. Why is that significant? That is significant because when I started this show at 5 o'clock Eastern time, I took a reading here and I was at 991. My pressure has dropped 10 millibars. So that, to me, is an indication we are now gusting to 81 miles an hour. So we are definitely getting closer to that center of circulation by the fact that our pressure is dropping. And as you see, we still have those gusty winds. We're not finished with it. We are not finished with it. It's going to take several more hours for this to push through, continue to wind down. The good news is the backside of this system, I don't know if you can hear that. So it's, now that it's getting dark, it brings in a lot more anxiety because you hear things and you're not quite sure where it's coming from, the direction. This, I think, was just the wind howling down the street. But Paul Goodlow, he's at our hotel. He's been here live as well. He told us that the wind was howling through the hotel. You could feel the hotel swaying, and there's actually some water into our hotel. So if there's water into our hotel, I'm assuming some of the homes perhaps have some water in them as well. Of course, this area was hit by Laura, a month and a half ago, and there are some houses that have blue tarps on them. There were debris piles around, so they were recovering from Laura. Of course, nothing like they dealt with in Lake Charles. Shockingly, as you can see behind me, the lights on here at this bank behind me, power has not gone out, at least on the street that we are on. So it's pretty much a miracle, if you ask me, that we still actually have power here. We do have 200,000 customers. Remember, when we give you the power update, that's for one structure that the power is going to. So if you have a house of 4 or 6 people, you can multiply the amount of people without power is much higher than that. And as this storm goes inland, we could see power outages due to the fact that even if it doesn't have as strong of winds, You don't need a lot when the ground is saturated and you get a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust even. You don't need a 60, 90, 80-mile-an-hour wind gust. You can get a tree to come down when you have your winds at 35 miles an hour and slice right through a home. And so this is why we always want you to be on guard, not only at the coast, but also inland as this hurricane continues to move north, and it will continue to do that into the overnight hours. This is now the fourth hurricane to make landfall here in Louisiana, and that ties a record from 2002, when we also had four, named storms, not hurricanes in particular, but tropical storms and hurricanes. We tied the record from 2002. There are some of those gusts that are still happening, and I will just continue to check my anemometer dropping again, now to 979.7 millibars. So we are nearing that eye. I hope you stay tuned to see us after we've gotten beaten up by the winds of Delta. The first time we've had a Greek named storm, a hurricane I should say, make landfall. Beta was a tropical storm when it made landfall. This is our first hurricane as a Greek named storm. We will get into the eye. The question is, how dirty will the eye be? What does it mean to have a dirty eye, and how does the eye affect you? I'm gonna have the answer to all of those questions coming up after we take a quick breather here. We'll come back and talk more about the technicalities of a hurricane's eye.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
New Doritos Flamin' Hot Limon.
With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm will always be among the first to arrive and the last to leave, to help show that human nature is greater than nature. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Our focus is raising the girls.
Being able to order stuff online,
it helps out a lot.
We get to use that time that we would be at the grocery store. That time is priceless.
Only Dish has the Hopper, TV's most powerful DVR.
Look who's here.
It holds up to 2,000 hours of your favorite shows.
You waited. I got all the seasons.
For as long as you need them. Dish, tuned in to you.
A woman who was young had COVID-19. I remember her because she had a bracelet that had the names of her children. She asked me, "Doctor, am I going to be okay?" And I could not give her the answer that I wanted to give her. There's no excuse for why we don't have this under control at this point. Joe Biden listens to medical experts. He actually has a plan that does the things that we should have been doing many months ago. And Joe Biden is not going to let his ego get in the way of fighting the disease.
FFPAC's responsible for the content of this ad.
It's oh so quiet and so peaceful. You fall in love, sing boom, you shout and you yell. Ha, ha. Blow, blow, blow. When you're falling in love.
The world's changing, and we're changing with it. At FastShipFaceMask.com, our soft and plush, reusable double-layer face masks come in fun colors and styles, starting at $6.99. With our famous 5-minute checkout and next-day shipping, you can have your masks fast, help slow the spread, and protect your community. Feel the difference and be the difference at FastShipFaceMask.com.
Jim and Joanne are here to pick up the same prescription. They both know the system is not on their side. They both know drug costs are out of control. But one of them is taking back control with GoodRx.
Next.
So while he's paying that much, even with his insurance, she's paying this much just by using GoodRx. Use GoodRx to compare prices at pharmacies in your area and stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today and take back control.
It's almost unbelievable this is real.
When your cameras roll,
this is something nobody can imagine.
Our experts react.
What do you do? Oh my gosh.
Jaw-dropping.
Nope, 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 all the way back home.
It doesn't get better than this.
Don't miss all new episodes of Weather Gone Viral, Sunday nights at 9, here on the Weather Channel. Get your daily dose of everything weather.
Wow! Boy, do we have a lot to talk about.
Weather Today from the Weather Channel. New episodes every day, only on Quibi.
Let's talk about some of the gustiest winds that we have seen so far out of Hurricane Delta, right where we are located. We've been in the eye wall, and we have seen a gust to 81 miles an hour. Lake Arthur, just down the road, 11 miles, gusting to 95 miles an hour. Lake Charles, Lake Charles gusting to 95, Lake Arthur gusting to 96 miles an hour. That's the highest actual observation we've been able to get so far. Now, as you can see, the winds are getting better. They're still gusty. We're not finished with this yet. We're not in the eye just yet, but they are getting better. Now, as we go into that eye, our winds are going to calm because of how a hurricane, the structure of how a hurricane works. What happens is that pressure drops as you go into the eye of the storm. You have the lowest pressure at the center. Of course, that center coming over Creole, Louisiana, not too long ago. Now, I started off the show at 5 o'clock Eastern time. My pressure was 991. My pressure reading now is 979.6. It's jumping around 979.6, 979.7. The central pressure, the lowest pressure right now, is 970. So this is an indication for me that we are getting close to that center. We're obviously not in it yet, but the eye is where we have the calm. Now, before the break, I was talking about a dirty eye. What does that mean? What does that mean for you? Well, when you have a very powerful hurricane, it is so strong that in the eye, and you are able to look up and see the stars. I've witnessed it. I can vouch for it. It literally does happen. It's the weirdest thing. You go through some of the worst weather you've ever experienced in your life, and then all of a sudden it's calm. You hear the frogs, birds come out, and you can see stars when you have a very strong, well-defined hurricane. This one has been falling apart as it's coming ashore. So the shear has been stretching out the eye. It's not as circular as, a super well-defined storm, but we still have it. So once we go into that eye, it's going to be what meteorologists sometimes call a dirty eye, meaning we'll have that calm, that pressure will still drop, and it is still an eye, but we probably won't be able to see any stars. It'll probably just still be cloud cover. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't classify as a hurricane. It doesn't mean anything. Just some eyes are more clear than others. What does that mean for you? Well, it means that you've gotten through that northern eye wall, or perhaps the western eye wall, because this thing is stretching out. We were talking about that earlier with Bettis. Lake Charles, where Tevin is, and Jim Cantori and Bro Bridge off to my east and Tevin off to my west, the three of us could get in this eye because it's getting pulled out, pulled apart. And there are times when you get into the eye, it's not perfectly calm. Again, that would classify as a dirty eye, because it's not clean seeing straight up to the stars. So what this means for you at home is that things will improve, but then we have to get through the backside of the storm. Because this storm is falling apart as it's coming ashore, we don't have a super strong back eye wall, but you will still feel it. It will still be windy. You can still lose power. A lot of times what happens is things really get weakened with that first eye wall, and then even if that second eye wall isn't super strong, you can still see things get blown around. You can still see your power go out and whatnot. Let's talk about power outages, because we're talking 200,000 customers without power in both Texas and Louisiana, and I anticipate power outages as this goes inland and knocks down trees on power lines or just takes down those power lines. Let's go to Lake Charles, who we were just getting back on our feet, Justin, after Hurricane Laura. Yeah. And I've heard that there are sporadic power outages around Lake Charles yet again when they've worked so hard to get it up and running.
From what I can tell right now, about 40,000 customers here, Stephanie, in Calcasieu Parish are without power. In the entire state of Louisiana, we have, and there's a leaf, 167,000 customers without power. The vast majority of customers with this storm without power are right here in Louisiana, especially the southwestern side of Louisiana, as this storm continues to roll through. I'll tell you what, Delta is really dealing a blow to Lake Charles, Louisiana, and the reason is because they were already so badly hit just 6 weeks ago with Laura coming through here and really laying waste to the entire city. Now, to give you some numbers we're talking about here in Lake Charles, we've already had a 95-mile-per-hour wind gust not all that long ago, about an hour ago, and so far today, more than 8.5 inches of rain. The rain is expected to last several more hours. These intense gusty winds are hopefully going to start to die off over the next few hours, but that's no time to let your guard down. We still have hours, Mike Bettis, of rain and winds to deal with, and it really isn't going to be till tomorrow morning, Mike, that people should even consider leaving their safe spots, leaving their homes, and going to assess damage, because now we're getting tonight. Power lines are going to be down, trees are going to be down, debris is going to be everywhere, Mike, and we already know that roads, not just highways, but roads, secondary roads are being closed. The dangers are real, Mike Bettis, and Lake Charles is going to have a lot more cleanup after Delta. Into you.
For real. We'll do it tomorrow. Don't worry about it today. Newest advisory has come in from the Hurricane Center. We now have a Category 1. Winds have been downgraded to 90 miles per hour. Landfall happening roughly an hour ago.
1 in 2 kids is underhydrated. All new plant-powered Creative Roots gives kids the hydration they need with the fruit flavors they love and 1 gram of sugar. Find new Creative Roots in the kids' juice aisle.
Did you know you can go to libertymutual.com to customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need?
Really? I had to... Okay, I'm on vibrate.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Donald Trump is lying again. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone making under $400,000. Biden will close tax loopholes for big corporations. Trump's tax cut giveaway exploded our debt, so he's threatening Social Security and Medicare. Biden will make the wealthy and big corporations pay their fair share, so we can protect Social Security and Medicare and invest in schools and health care.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Power outages can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life, posing a real threat to your comfort and safety. When the power goes out, you have no lights, no refrigeration, no heating or air conditioning. Your well or sump pump won't work. Your modern daily electronics are rendered useless. And what if the power's out for days or weeks? Are you prepared? You can be with a Generac home standby generator.
24 days we were without power. I had water, I had ice, I had coffee, I had air conditioner. I was able to stay here because of Generac.
When an outage occurs, your Generac home standby generator automatically powers up, so your life goes on without disruption. You and your family are comfortable, safe, and secure. Generac generators run on your home's existing natural gas or propane. And Generac's standard Mobile Link remote monitoring system keeps you posted on operating status, maintenance updates, and more. Generac generators are designed, engineered, and purpose-built in the USA. Generac is the #1 manufacturer of home standby generators in the world. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
Very good product. Very, very good reviews from everybody.
Prices start at just $19.99, and special financing is available with surprisingly affordable monthly payments. Call now to schedule your free in-home assessment with one of Generac's 6,000 nationwide dealers. The call is free, the assessment is free, and there's no obligation to buy. Plus, if you act now, you'll receive a 7-year extended warranty absolutely free. That's a $695 value. Call now, so the next time there's a power outage, your home powers up. Power your life with Generac. Call or go online to schedule your free in-home assessment today.
We just got our latest update from the Hurricane Center, the 8 a.m. intermediate update, bringing this down to a Category 1, 90-mile-an-hour winds. We will get another full update from the Hurricane Center at 11 p.m. this evening. And I want to bring in Mike Bettis to talk about this pressure reading. 970, Mike, the center of this storm, the lowest pressure. I have 978 jumping around 0.9, 0.8. 979. We're jumping right around 979 and 978.8-ish. But what's interesting about this eye is it's not like we have this super well-defined eye right in the center. That pressure is going to drop. It's getting spread out. So I think that is going to make a difference in those pressure readings. Again, just a technicality when we're talking meteorology. For those of you at home that aren't as interested in those numbers, Mike, it's not going to make a difference.
No, it really isn't. I think from this point going forward, we're going to start to gradually see the pressures come up. That means a weakening system. We're going to see the winds start to come down. And Steph, I literally think you're just minutes away from literally being in the eye, and I think you'll be in it for a couple of hours then. But all the rain will mostly be gone. You'll get the backside of the storm, the southern eye wall, if you will, but there'll be hardly any precipitation, if zero, but you'll have the wind that comes back. So you'll know you're back in the eye wall when the wind starts to crank back up. But I think you might get the pressure on your handheld there. I think you get pressure drop to maybe 975, 974, something like that, because I think the pressure with the most recent reading from the Hurricane Center is at 971. So I think you'll probably get pretty close to that, with the handheld. We'll see what it eventually comes to. But it's just interesting to see that we've had 4 landfalls now in Louisiana this season, Steph, setting a record for that state, tying it, with 2002. So it's just been a rough year.